Hello and welcome back to the channel. Brandon with Davidson Audio. And today you can obviously tell we're not working on an Indian. We're actually working on our 2014 Harley Davidson Ultra Classic, which is built on, it's their touring version of the Street Glide. I'm sure some Harley experts will correct me and tell me how they're completely different. I'm not 100% sure. I just know we picked up this bike specifically for it being a 2014 because of the audio system change, which from our last video where we talked about buying this bike, you already know. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing you this whole build series on this bike. So the first video we're going to be doing, which is this video, is going to be of our fairing speaker enclosure modifications installs, then the lid cutting kit, then the 8s and the bags, and then we're going to get the 2 amplifiers installed. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start the process on this. Alright, so like I said, first video, fairing speaker enclosure modification and install of our speakers. I'm going to hand this over to Bill. He's going to go walk you through this install part of this bike, and he's also going to take you through the process of doing the lid cutting kit and the 8s and the bags and installing the equipment up in the fairing. So I'm going to hand it off to him. He'll take good care of y'all through this whole process, and you'll see me when it's done because I'm going out of town for a week.
All right, this is Bill with Davidson Audio. I don't do as much talking as Brandon. I do more of the working around here. So we're going to take this fairing enclosure off, and you're going to need a 5/32, 3/16, and 11 millimeter. We'll go ahead and take off these 3 bolts here, and then there's 2 more Allens that are right here, and then the 3 11s that are down here. A little bit of a pain to get to, but not a big deal. And because I like to look good on camera, everything's already loose, so I can go ahead and just take it all apart. All right, now that we got the fairing enclosure apart, or off the bike I should say, all we got to do is take off all these little screws, separate this, and this piece right here has to be cut out in order for the speaker to fit back in there. So we're going to pull all that apart, cut that out, put it all back together. All right, so now that we have our enclosure off of the bike, first thing we're going to do is remove the speaker, set that to the side, and then we're going to have to take off all of these screws here, 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 separate the enclosure. That way we can cut that line out so that the new speaker will fit in there just fine. All right, now that we have these 2 pieces separated, I can go ahead and cut out that line. I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera so you guys don't have to hear all the bad words and the bloody fingers. So I've got this piece cut out right here. We did have to cut out another little small section just to get the Groundzero speaker to fit. Put this back together, drop the speaker in it, sits flush all the way around. But since this is our shop bike, what we're going to go ahead and do is just clean up everything and knock all of this out, and then we'll put it back together. We're going to silicone it closed just to get a better air seal for the speaker when it's hitting, and then we'll get it all back together. All right, now I finally got everything cut out. Just because we're at Davidson Audio, we like to go ahead and go 1 step above and beyond. So we went ahead and cleaned everything out. This is our demo bike. We're going to be trying out different speakers, changing out different things. So this way we only have to do it once. We just cut it all out. But in the first video I showed you the bare minimum of what you had to cut out to get the speakers to fit. We just went ahead and went above and beyond. So now we'll go ahead and get this back together, put a little bit of silicone all the way around it just to help with the air seal, get our new speaker mounted in there, and then we'll be good to go. All right, so we got this back together. Got a bead of silicone all the way around it just to help with the air seal. So now we're going to go ahead and load our speaker and get it all back together and ready to be put back on the bike. All right, now we have the speaker loaded. We'll go over there, replace our grill real quick, and then get this put back on the bike. Now we're back over to the bike. We're going to be replacing the grill, which is right here. Getting rid of the factory Harley grill, trash that, changing it out to the Cicada grills, which look a lot cleaner. So in order to do that, you have 3, T20 screws that you have to take out. You just pull these 3 out here, toss that old grill out, and of course make sure the Cicada logo is aimed at the bottom. And there's a little bit of play in these screws before you tighten them down, so I like to just take a look over here, make sure the Cicada logo is, or the logo of whichever grill you have, is centered down at the bottom. Then you can go ahead and tighten these down. And that's it for the grills. Now that we have our grills replaced, we can go ahead and put our speaker enclosure back in. So just slide this in, make sure all the harnesses are out of the way. And we're just going to put these three in loosely because these two and the 311s at the bottom are going to need to have this wiggle around a little bit. And then our 311s. Alright, now that we have all those screws in, got them started at least, go ahead and take our connector, plug that in, make sure we don't forget. And now all we have to do is tighten everything down. Alright, and that is a wrap for the fairing enclosure. As Brandon said before, we're going to continue on, do a lid cutting kit and a 8-inch mid base in the saddlebag, and we'll get to that in a later video. If you can, please like and subscribe the video. That way we can keep doing these things, help you guys out with your installs. And that's a wrap.